So let us start today's class. So we stopped at the last topic. What we studied was what is a production system, and then what is a control strategy, and then two different types of control strategy we studied: breadth first search and depth first search, right? And then we also studied that what are the different types of problem characteristics, and then what are the production system characteristics. So there are four types of production systems: monotonic and non-monotonic, and commutative and non partially commutative and non-partially commutative production systems. So that was what we did in the last class. Now I had also explained you the concept of what is a heuristic search. So heuristic search is never finds the best solution. Heuristic search will always find the better, or you can say the optimal solution. So heuristic search techniques are basically meant for finding an optimal solution to the problem. So now let us see what is a heuristic search first of all. So direct techniques are generally blind search. So they will require too much time because they will be doing an exhaustive search of the search space. So they will try to generate a solution and then they will see whether it is a solution or not. If it is not your goal state, so then they will generate another solution. And basically they will follow some movement would be there, but that movement will not be towards your goal state. So it's called as a blind search. So those direct techniques which don't employ any kind of a heuristic function, those techniques are basically they require too much time because you will be exhaustively searching all the combinations. So you do not generate the combinations, or you can say the next states intelligently. So that is why those techniques are come in the category of blind search. So actually the strategy, which control strategy, has got two requirements: that it should be systematic and it should cause motion, right? That was what we started. The third one is it should be efficient also. A control strategy should cause motion, it should be efficient, and also it should be systematic. So a control strategy can cause motion and it can be systematic, but still it is not leading towards a goal state because it is not intelligently generating the solutions. So for that we use heuristic functions. So heuristic functions are weak techniques in the sense that they do not provide you the best solution, but they will provide you an optimal solution for your problem. And they will need a lot of domain knowledge also. So based on the domain knowledge only, we design the heuristic function, and that heuristic function will give me a measure of how far I am from the goal state, right? So we have studied in the last few classes, we have also studied the how to design a heuristic function, right? So we have studied for tic tac toe. So if in a row you have three x's, so you will give a heuristic score of 3 to that, right? Then if you have only two x's, you will give a heuristic score of 2 to that. If you have only one x, then you will give a heuristic score of 1 to that. So depending upon that how far you are from your goal state, you will give a heuristic value. So your goal state is you want three x's in a row, column, or a diagonal. So if you have only one x, then you can give it a score of 1, and you want to reach a score of 3. So that will give me that how far I am from the goal state. Like this, you design heuristic functions for different problems. So they require domain knowledge because, for example, in the case of tic-tac-toe, you want to find out that what should be the possible heuristic function. So you need the domain knowledge that what are the rules of the game, right? So the rules of the game are that you want three x's in a row, column, or a diagonal to win. So you need that information in order to design a heuristic function. So that's why it is written that heuristic functions require domain specific knowledge or information. So now let us see, this is a 8 puzzle problem, and this is your initial state on the left hand side, and you want to reach the right hand side state. So basically you want that empty tile in that the empty tile in this position, which is in the 8th position, you want it in the 5th position. 5th means in the center. Okay. So what could be the next possible moves from the initial state? So actually, if you see here, you have the initial state like this. So you have the initial state, just see the root of this tree. So if you see the root of this tree, you have the initial state as 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 4, and 6 space 5. So what could be the next possible states? The rules of the game you need to know. So basically the rules of the game is, in the 8 puzzle problem, you can move one tile at a time and you can move a tile into the empty space. So that are the two rules which you need to consider while forming the next stage. So if you consider these rules, then what could be the next possible states? So when one state could be, you can move the 6 into the empty space. So you will generate the left hand side move. So if you move 6 into the empty space, you will get 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 4, and then empty 6, 5. Right? So other option could be, you can move 5 into the empty space. Fine. So if you move 5 on the right hand side into the empty tile, so you will get the next move as the board position would look like 6, 5, and then the empty tile. Right? So the total board position would look like 1, 2, 3. Could be, so the third option could be, you could move 8 into the empty tile. So 8 from above. So this 8 which is at the in the second row, in the second position, you can move that 8 into the empty tile also. So again you will generate another state. So you will get this 1, 2, 3, 7 space 4 and then 6, 8, 5. So this would be a third move, right? So like this you have three moves possible and you don't have any other move possible because only the three adjacent squares are there. So each of the three, if you move into the empty tile, you will get only three possible next moves. You don't have any further next moves possible, right? So if you move the left hand side square, you get the first state. If you move the right hand side square into the empty tile, you move the second state, you get the second state. And if you move the upward tile into the empty space, you will get the third state. Fine. So now, which move is the best? So your goal state is also given to you. Goal state is 1, 2, 3, 8, space 4, 7, 6, 5. So this is your goal state, which is given to you in red. And you want to choose a next move in order to move towards your goal state. So which move is the best? How should you decide that thing, that which move is the best, right? So there should be some left move is best. Why you are saying left move is best, Nitin? Okay, so I think you have applied some of your, I mean, you have thought something that it is least far from the goal state. So that's why you are saying, or any other particular measure you have applied. Difference of current positions from the target position is minimum. Okay, correct. So that is that difference of current positions from the target position. So this difference you are taking, and that is basically forming your you can say the measure of deciding that where to move actually, right? So this is nothing but your heuristic function. Okay, so like this only you formulate the heuristic functions. So whatever quality measure that you are using for assessing your move, that is basically nothing but a heuristic function. Okay, so here you are using the difference of the positions that is current from the target. So that difference is nothing but your heuristic function. Like this, you can choose different heuristic functions, and we can also understand that which heuristic function is better in order to get to the goal state faster, right? So which move is best? So as S Krishna Kishore has told us that difference of current positions from target position he is taking, and that is minimum for the left hand side state. So that is why he has selected the left hand side move. So this is a good option actually. So okay, so basically what he is saying is, so basically what heuristic we use to decide that which move is the best, right? So basically we'll try to establish some ordering to the moves, and then we'll try to find out the actual value of the heuristic function also. So what he's saying is, what Krishna said is difference of current from target position. So that is nothing but the number of tiles in the correct position, isn't it? So if I see the number of tiles in the correct position, or if I see the number of tiles in the incorrect position, that will give me that how much far I am from the goal state, isn't it? So basically what Krishna has done is, he has taken the target position, that means the goal state, and he has taken the current state, and he has taken that how many tiles are correctly placed. That's it. and then how many are remaining basically to be correctly placed. So basically he has taken the number of incorrectly placed tiles as a heuristic function. Yeah, fine. So he has taken the number of incorrectly placed tiles as its heuristic function. So that is a very correct heuristic function. Other way around could be you could take the number of tiles in the correct position, right? So if you take the number of tiles in the correct position, you will basically estimate how far you are from the goal state, right? So your total number of tiles in the goal state are all correct only. So you can give the heuristic value of, so let us see this one on this one. So the number of tiles are totally 8 tiles are there. So all 8 are in the correct position in the goal state. We are assuming that they are all correct because it is the goal state. So we'll give the heuristic value as 8 for the goal state, right? So we'll give the heuristic value as 8 for the goal state. Fine. And now whatever state we are in, that state we will count that how many tiles are there in the correct position and we'll give the heuristic score accordingly. So for example, on the left hand side, if you see, you have the board position as 1 2 3 7 8 4 and then space 6 5. Okay, so here your 1 2 and 3, those tiles are correctly placed if with respect to the goal state, right? So that means 3 tiles are correctly placed. Then go to the second row. 7 is not correctly placed, so leave it. 8 is also not correctly placed, so leave it. Then you come to 4. 4 also is correctly placed, right? So that means up till now 4 tiles are correctly placed. Then you go to the third row. So space you leave it. Then you come to 6. So 6 is correctly placed, right? Then 5 is also correctly placed. So total number of correctly placed tiles are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total number of 6 tiles are correctly placed, right? So the heuristic score of this state would become 6 and the goal state's heuristic score is 8. So that's how you know that you want to reach a heuristic score of 8 and you are currently at 6. So like this you can estimate yourself that how far you are from the goal state. So now whatever heuristic value would be there for the second state and for the third state also, for the right hand side state and for the upward side state, you will calculate the heuristic values for them also. And then you will choose the move according to these values. So can anybody tell me that what would you choose the move with the higher heuristic value or you will choose the move with the lowest heuristic value? Higher heuristic value, right? So basically the number of correctly placed tiles, if they are high, that means you are closer to the goal state, right? So you will place the number of so you will basically choose the higher value of the heuristic function to decide the next move. Fine. So in this case, you can find out the heuristic values for these second and third state also. So if you see the second state, you will get 1, 2, 3 are correctly placed in the second state. Then 7 is not correctly placed. 8 is also not correctly placed. Then 4 is correctly placed. And then you have 6, which is not correctly placed. 5 is also not correctly placed. And this. So total of 4. So in the right hand side state, you have only 4 correctly placed tiles. So H is equal to 4. Now, if you see the third state, in the third state, you have 1, 2, 3 are correctly placed. Then 4 and 5 are correctly placed. Yes. So you have total of 5 tiles. So H is equal to 5. So for the first state, H was 6. For the second state, H is 4. And for the third state, H is 5. So that's why you will select the first state. Okay. So that's how you have selected the first state using the heuristic function, the number of correct tiles. Now, the higher the number, the better it is if you are taking the number of tiles in the correct position as your heuristic function. Fine. Now, another approach could be you take the number of tiles in the incorrect position. Fine. So, in this case, the best move would be the one which is the lowest value of heuristic function. Right. So, let us see this one. So, if you see here, now we are choosing the heuristic function as the number of tiles in the incorrect position. So if you see here the first state, that means the left hand side state. So 1, 2, 3 are correctly placed. So leave them. So 7, if you see the second row, 7 is there. 7 is the first element in the second row. So 7 is incorrectly placed. So that's 1. That will be score of 1. Then 8 is also incorrectly placed. Fine. So score of 2. Then 4 is correctly placed. So leave it. Empty tile, you always leave it. Empty tile, we don't consider. Then 6 and 5 are correctly placed. So leave them. So only 2 tiles are incorrectly placed. So that's why H becomes 2. Fine. So that's how you get an H of 2 for the left hand side state. Now similarly you calculate for the remaining two states also. So if you see the right hand side state, 1, 2, 3 are correctly placed, so leave them. 7 is incorrectly placed, so score of 1 to it. Then 8 is incorrectly placed, so score of 1 to it. So that means total score is 2 up till now. And then 4 is correctly placed, so leave it. Then 6 is again incorrectly placed, so score of 3. Then 5 is again incorrectly placed, so score of 4. So total score of 4 for this right hand side state. So H is equal to 4 for the right hand side state. Okay. And then if you see the last state, the upward state, where you have replaced the upward tile into the empty position. So the third state, if you see, now you count the number of incorrect tiles. How many incorrect tiles are there? How many incorrect tiles are there in the third state? I'm asking students, please respond. Okay, how many tiles are there in the third state? That's my question. How many incorrect tiles? Okay, 3 incorrect tiles, right? Are you able to understand how we get 3 tiles here? So 3 incorrect tiles we have got because, right. So I hope you are able to understand how we get the incorrect tiles. 3 is incorrect, and then 4 and 5 is correct, 6 is incorrect. Okay, 6 is incorrect, 8 is also incorrect. So total of 3 tiles are at the incorrect positions. Fine. So that's why H becomes 3. So as I told you, here you have 3 states and their H values are 2, 4 and 3. So which one you will select? You will select the one with the lowest value, because the number of incorrect tiles, whatever are lowest in a particular state, that seems to be the locally best state. I mean, that seems to be the best state to select. So you will select which state again? You will select the state H is equal to 2. You will select the state with H is equal to 2, right? Are you able to understand this? Fine. Okay. Now, can this always lead towards your goal state? If you are choosing, see, if you are choosing always the number of tiles in the incorrect position as your heuristic measure, is this heuristic measure a very good measure and it will always lead towards a goal state? Is it possible that it will always lead towards a goal state? See, why? Okay, Deval is saying no. Why? Please think, students. Example in first case. Example in the first case. Okay, left. Okay. Yeah, so in the left one, we have selected this left move. But if we go on using this heuristic measure, and in this case, it might lead to a solution, but will it lead towards the goal state faster? If you use this heuristic function, it might get stuck into an infinite loop. Okay, Nitin is saying it might get stuck into an infinite loop. Okay, fine. So why it will get stuck in an infinite loop? Basically, okay, Nitin, can you answer why it will get stuck in infinite loop? Okay. Okay, that was a guess. Fine. Okay, no problem. So basically, so that is also correct. So basically, what can happen is, okay, positions of 8 and 7 are interchanged in the first case. Fine, okay. So students, okay, you can see it like this. See, you have chosen the heuristic measure of selecting based on the number of incorrect positions, right? Now, based on that, you have selected this left-hand side move. Now, what happens is when you generate the next state of this state, left-hand side state. So, if you generate the children of this left-hand side state, and those children or the next states from that, those might be having the number of incorrect tiles more than 2. Okay, so it might be a case that when you selected this tile, this position, at that time you were selecting the locally best solution. So you were selecting the best solution because h was 2, so you selected this. But after expanding this state and generating the successors of this state, so the next states could be the states which are having more number of incorrect tiles than 2. Why? Why it can happen? Because it is not always possible that you are, if you are in this state, if you are in this state, if it is seeming that it is only two positions away basically from the goal state, you just have to make two incorrect positions correct, right? So in this state it is actually looking like that, that you just have to make only two positions correct, right? They are incorrect, so you have to correct those two positions only. But actually what might be the case is, in correcting those two positions, lot of effort might be required. Okay, lot of effort in the sense they might be having a longer path towards the correct state, isn't it? This h is equal to 2 state. Okay, so I want to reach the goal state from this state. So h is equal to 2, I had selected this. Now I want to reach the goal state from this state. So number of incorrect tiles are 2 in this case. So which are those tiles? Tile number 7 and tile number 8. Fine. Now tile number 7 I want to reach towards the correct position, so I'll have to just move it by 1. Okay, and if I want to reach for 8, okay, so I can move it by 1. So in this case it is okay. But suppose you have some goal state in which just by moving one position you are not able to get the goal state. Okay, so this position h is equal to 2 is such that in order to get the goal state from this position you have to take a lot of moves. Okay, you have to make a lot of moves. So it will follow a longer path towards the goal state. Fine. So even if this state is appearing as a locally best solution, it may not be the globally best solution. Fine. Because the move, which is the goal state, that might be farther away from this state. Like, as in contradiction to how it seems. So it seems that we are just two moves away. We will just make the two positions correct and then we will reach the goal state. But it might not be the case, because in making the two moves correct, you might be taking many moves. Okay. So it appears to be a locally best solution but may not be the globally best solution. So we can go for other heuristic functions also. Okay, so let us see another heuristic function and then let us try to understand which one is better. Okay, so another heuristic function could be, a third one could be, count how far away each tile is from its correct position. Okay, so in this case we are counting how far each tile is from its correct position. And we are summing up this count over all the tiles. So this is another heuristic function which I have taken. In this case, for each tile I am counting how far is it from its correct position, and then I am summing up this count for all the tiles. So it's basically a bigger picture of how you are, basically how much far you are from the goal state. It's basically a more broader picture of how far you are from the goal state, isn't it? Because for each tile you are counting that how much away it is from its correct position, and you are summing up this count. So it's kind of a more sophisticated heuristic function, or you can say it is a global heuristic function because it is taking into account all the tiles individually and their distances individually from their correct positions. So let us see this function and formulate the h values. So for each tile, you have to count how far away it is from the correct position. And then you have to sum up that count for all the tiles. So let's see for the left hand side tile. So 1 is already at the correct position, so leave it. It is at a distance of 0, so leave it. Then 2 is also at the correct position, so leave it. 3 is also at the correct position, so leave it. Now you come to 7. 7 is not at the correct position, so how far it is from the correct position? You have to take that thing, that how far it is from the correct position. Okay. So 7 is how far from the correct position? You have to make only one movement towards the bottom and you will get the correct position, right? So what is the number of tiles? How many tiles it is away from the correct position? One only, right? So 1 for 7. Then for 8, 8 is how many tiles away? 8 is also one tile away, right? Because you just have to move it towards the left, right? So it is also one tile away from the correct position. So 1 plus 1 up till now, fine. And then for 4, 4 is already at the correct position, so leave it. Then empty you leave it. Then 6 and 5, they also are at the correct positions, so leave it. So total of 1 plus 1, fine. So total of 2. So that is why the h value becomes 2. Fine. Similarly, you find out the h values for the second and third states also. So if you see the second state, 1, 2, 3 are already in their correct positions. So leave it. And then 7. 7 is not at the correct position. So just count how many. Only one position it needs to change to the bottom. So 1 for 7. So 1 for 7. And then 8. 8 is also not at the correct position. So you'll move it towards the left. So plus 1 for 8. Then 4 is correct, so leave it. Then 6 is not correct, so 6 you have to move towards the right by one tile. So plus 1 for 6, fine. And then for 5, 5 is also not at the correct position, so plus 1 for 5, because you have to move it by one tile. So total of 4 you get. That's how you get the heuristic value of 4. And for the last one, so last one is also having a heuristic value of 4. How come? Just see here, 1, 2, 3 you leave it because they are already at the correct positions. 7 is having a one tile away from the correct position, so plus 1 for 7. Then empty you leave it, and then 4 is at the correct position, so leave it. Then come to 6. So 6 is one tile away from its correct position, so plus 1 for 6. Now you come to 8. 8 is how many tiles away from its correct position? How many tiles away from the correct position? Can anybody tell me? 2 tiles away? Okay, yeah, good. So 8 is 2 tiles away from the correct positions because you cannot directly move diagonally. You cannot move diagonally. In the 8 puzzle problem, this is a restriction that you can move either horizontal or vertical. You cannot move diagonal. Okay, so that is why 8 is 2 positions away from its correct position. Fine. So plus 2 for 8. And then 5 is at the correct position, so leave it. So 1 plus 1 plus 2. So total of 4 again. Fine. So this is how you get the heuristic value of 4 for the third state. Okay. So like this, you have generated the heuristic values for all the 3 states. Now, this based on this, again you get the left hand side state. So you will select the left hand side state based on this heuristic function also. So all the 3 heuristic functions which we have chosen, they are selecting the left hand side state as a next state. So that means the left hand side state might be the correct move to take for this problem, for this 8 puzzle problem, which is having this initial state and this goal state. For that, the left hand side move might be the most advantageous move. Fine. But actually, for this case, it might not be a problem because only 2 moves away from the goal state. After this next state, you have to take only 2 moves. But for actually, which heuristic function is better? Okay, so which heuristic function is better? In this case, it is all these heuristic functions are actually leading to the same state, but depending upon the choice of the heuristic functions, the next state may change because the heuristic scores returned by different heuristic functions can be different, right? And if they are different, then the choice of the next state will also be different, right? So by chance in this example, all the 3 heuristic functions are selecting the left hand side state only, but that may not be the case in all the cases. It may not be the case. So which heuristic function should be the best one? So actually, if you consider the number of correct and incorrect tiles, that gives you a local perception. Okay, so that gives you a local perception, or you can say you are basically selecting the locally best solution. But after some moves, you don't know that how many moves would be actually required after that state to go to the goal state, right? For example, I was explaining you that okay, so let's go back to the number of incorrect tiles one. So these are the heuristic values for number of incorrect tiles. Okay, so if you see the left hand side state, that is the state where the number of incorrect tiles are 2. But it may not be the case always that the next state from this state is having a heuristic value of less than 2. It can happen that the next states are having a heuristic value of more than 2 also. So in that case, it will not be advantageous to choose this move h is equal to 2. Okay. So if the next states of this state are having h is equal to 4, let us say. So in that case, you are following a wrong path. Fine. So because this could be a locally maximum, it could be a local maxima basically. It could be a locally best solution, but it could not be the globally best solution. That can also happen. So you choose the heuristic functions in a way that the heuristic functions are basically indicating the globally best solutions. Okay, so this choice of the heuristic function, number of incorrect or correct ties, that is basically a local heuristic. But if you choose the heuristic where for each tile you are counting that how far it is from its correct position, so in that case you are also taking into account the path each tile has to follow towards the correct position. Fine. So that is a more global picture because it has less chances of failing in the next stage, because you have already taken into account that how many moves this tile would require to reach towards its correct position. Whereas in this particular heuristic function, where you are choosing just the number of incorrect tiles, in that case you are not taking account of the path which has to be followed towards the correct positions. Okay, but in the third approach you are actually taking into account of the path also which you are following towards the correct positions, so that is less likely to fail. That heuristic function is a better heuristic function because it is also taking into account the path which you have to follow, and if a longer path is required then it will not choose that move basically. So that is why the third approach is the most better, or you can say the best one. The third heuristic function is the best one and it will fail very less. So it will not be failing in most of the cases. But the first and second heuristic functions, they might have a local maxima kind of a thing, but they may fail on the next stage. Are you able to understand the students what I just explained, why the third one is better? Okay, Krishna and Nitin are saying yes. What about others? All of you are able to understand, students, why the third approach is better approach? Okay. Okay, fine then. So if you are able to understand, then let's move further. So this is so this is how we basically make you can say construct heuristic functions, and then we also decide that which heuristic function should be better for which problem, right? So in this case we are choosing the third heuristic function as the best heuristic because it is taking the global picture into account, because it is also taking the path which we are following for each tile to reach its correct position. Fine. So it is less likely to fail, because if longer paths are required for a position then we will not select that position. But in the earlier two approaches we were selecting those positions also because we were not considering the path. Fine. So this is kind of a global heuristic. The first two were the local heuristics. Okay. So this is about heuristic functions, and quality of heuristic function is always important. That's why we selected the third heuristic function. So now let us try to understand that what are the different heuristic search techniques. Okay, so we have different heuristic search techniques. The first one is very simple, generate and test heuristic search technique. So this is not even a heuristic search technique, students. It's basically a very simple approach. You will generate a solution. You have a goal state, you have an initial state. Okay, so while your goal state is not accomplished, you will generate a solution. Fine. And then you will test the solution to see if it is the goal state or not. If it is not the goal state, then you will generate another solution. Fine. So if that solution is a goal state, then it is okay. Otherwise, you will generate another solution and so on. So basically, you will generate the solution and test whether it is the goal state or not. If it is goal state, then you have success. You have reached the successful position. And if it is not the goal state, so in that case, you generate another solution. Then again you check whether it is the goal state or not. If it is a goal state, okay. If it is not the goal state, generate another solution and test and so on. So basically it is kind of a, that's why it's called as generate and test. It's simply, in the worst case, it will be simply exhaustively searching for all the combinations possible. Fine. So in the worst case, you can say that generate and test is nothing but but like a depth first search tree with backtracking. So depth first search tree also does like this only. It will generate a path, or you can say a branch. Then if that branch is not leading towards a solution, it will backtrack and generate another branch, right? And then if that branch is also not leading towards a solution, it will backtrack and generate another branch like this. Fine. And in the worst case, it is basically exhaustively testing all the possibilities, right? So generate and test is also like that only. So in its simplest form, you can say it's nothing like a DF, it's like a DFS tree with backtracking. Is it okay? So it's not heuristic basically. Heuristic functions are not used here to basically choose a move. Okay. So heuristic function is not used in generate and test to choose a move. So suppose I generate a move, I will see that I have just generated the move and then I want to choose another move. So I'm not choosing the moves intelligently, right? If I have a heuristic function, then that heuristic function is basically meant for choosing the moves intelligently, right? So in that way, we are using the heuristic function in generate and test. But actually, in generate and test, there are some heuristics which are applied to generate the moves. Okay, but that is not that is not very popular, and practically nobody says like that. But there are some heuristics actually. So that is what is happening. Some rules are there which are based on some heuristic functions. Some heuristics are there which are basic function. So they could be used for generating the next states, but we are not choosing the moves intelligently. We are just generating a move, then we are seeing if it is a solution, and if it is not a solution, that generation may use some heuristic. Okay. Can you hear me, Nitin? Can you hear me? So what I was saying was, in generate and test, we are not using heuristics to generate a move. We might use some heuristic rules to generate a move, but that's another thing. Nobody talks about in generate and test. We generally talk about that generate and test doesn't fall in the category of heuristic functions. That's why I'm telling you that what is the actual use of heuristics. So the use of heuristics in generate and test is very different. It is not like a normal heuristic. We are choosing the heuristic to generate the state. Okay. So just you don't have to worry about that. How do we generate the state using that heuristic? Because that's never used, and we practically don't consider that as a heuristic search technique also. But yes, there is some heuristic in the rules. But for generate and test, we are not using any heuristic. That's why it is the very approach. Okay, is it okay, Nitin? Technique test. Next, see, suppose since I'm talking about generate and test, for example, okay, so just we take an example, then we move on to the second technique. Suppose we have a problem. Salesman needs to visit n cities, and we know the distance between each pair of cities, and we want to find out the shortest route which is connecting all the cities. So if n is equal to 80, that means 80 cities. So it will take Just 1 factorial combinations you will have to test, isn't it? We have studied that in the last class. What is in the to test? So you have to test n factorial paths, right? So if you want to test factorially, I mean you want to test all the combinations, so the combination is 1 factorial. So in this case it will be 79. So us, a salesman has to visit 79 factorial paths. All are feasible. It will take millions to solve it exhaustively. Fine. See here, let us say this is your 4 cities are there. We are not only this, just so A, B, and their distances are also given. Fine. So generate means that you will generate the possible solutions. So here A, B, C, and D. Okay. A, B, C, and D you have taken. So if the starting at one city can go to A also, C also, and D also. Again, is breaking. Is it breaking again? Or is it fine or breaking? It's breaking. Can you hear me, friends? Or is it breaking? Hear me? Is it clear now? If it is not clear, then I will go for another internet connection. Breaking. Okay, fine. So, 1 minute. Okay. But actually, I am on a good internet connection only. It's generally this is better. Can you hear me now, students? Maybe it was a temporary problem. Is it better now? It's not better. Okay, fine. Okay. So, what should I? Now is it better? Now is it better? Or still the same quality? Now? Okay, fine. Okay, fine then. Fine, okay. So just continue then. Saying is that so what I was saying is starts at suppose a sales starts at a particular city for and the next city which is A or B or C or D. Anyone fine. So now from A, suppose he chooses A, then from A he has got 3 other to B, C or D. Fine. Then from B another option he can go to C. Then from C he can go to D, and from D he can fine. So like this you generate most 2 branches of the tree. Then for the next 2 branches he was at goes to B, and other option is he goes to D and then B. You can generate all the combinations basically. So the salesman can go to branches of the tree which we have shown, but we has to generate for all the branches. Cities in this case, so 3 factorial would be the total number of paths which we have to. So that means in this case 6 chosen a starting city. Fine. Chosen a start because 6 is basically 3 factorial. Okay, so he has to check all these paths. Now, if the n becomes, if it is very difficult to test the 79 factorial paths. Okay. So in that case, it's very difficult to test the 79 factorial paths, right? So that's why generate and test option. Generate and test is not a very good option in that case. I'll repeat. Yeah, I'll repeat. So I am saying, can you hear me, Nitin, now? Can you hear me, students, now? Can you hear me now? Should I continue? Yes or no? Are you there? Yes, okay, but it's still breaking. Keeps breaking after a while. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, okay. Actually, fine. If I connecting it a lot of time, sometimes it doesn't connect it. So that's why I'm option. Okay, let's try to understand the students a lot, then I will repeat it. Please try to understand. Fine. So I am saying that if you have, so in the generate and test, you generate all the. So if you have 4 cities, that means 3 factorial possible there. So means 3 factorial is 6. So that means 6 branches would be. So 6 paths would be possible. So what are those paths? From A you generate B, C or D. Fine. Then from B you either C, then C you could generate D after that, generate D, then you will generate C after. So you will have B, C, D. Then from A if you generate C, then the paths will be A, C and the other, right? Then from A if you generate D, paths could be A, D and the other path could be A, D, B, C. Okay. So basically, if you in the case of 4 cities, so that is manageable. You have n is equal to 80 into test 79 factorial paths. So that will not be possible for a travel 9 factorial paths and test for and solution. So the last sentence I said was that it would broke in the last sentence. So last sentence was 80 cities it is not manageable. 79 possibilities it is not manageable in the case of so it will become an search to test the 7. So it will become active to test the 79 factorial possibilities. So it's not of do. That's why we move on to the next, which is technique. So here a variation of what we do, we generate the next state upon a heuristic function. Okay, so we have a heuristic function with us, and we basically function to generate the next states. So we generate the next state blindly, next states intelligently using some heuristic function. So that heuristic function will provide that state is, and then only I will select my next state. Fine. So hill climbing selects the next state based upon the heuristic functions. So how do we select based on the heuristic functions? We have 2 types of hill climbing: simple hill climbing and ascent hill climbing. There are 2 types. So let us see how hill climbing. We were generating states blind, like, but in we are generating states intelligently using a heuristic function. Do is we use a heuristic function which is better than a correct. If we will generate all the possibilities, okay, but only that state we will select which is better than the current state. If we move to that better state possible, then we will our process. We will not move further. So if that particular so basically if we don't have a better state from the next, then the process will basically which is better than the current, then we will not further. So we will not go to select any state. So we just state which is better than the current state. Otherwise, we don't proceed. So this process, so always we will use a heuristic function to move to a state that is better. Fine. So you will generate all the next states and then you will choose the better state. Fine. So then you will choose the better state. Then from that better state, you will better than the current state. Then from that next generate again some. Okay. So like this you will go on until you reach the state. So in every step you are basically choosing state than the current state. If no state is better than the current state, go further. Basically your point. Generate a solution and you will see whether it is better than the current state or not. If it is not better than the current state, you will generate another solution. Fine. If it is also not better, then you will generate a third solution. The third solution, you will choose that solution and make it as a current state. Now, if the third solution is also not better, after every okay, so let us not connection. 1 minute. You give me 1 minute. Okay, students, can you hear me now? Is it something better? Can you hear me? Okay. Nitin, Nitesh, Abhishek, you told that there is some trouble. It is better than now? Okay. Tell me, all of you, please respond on the chat box. Better? Okay, fine. Okay. So let us continue for 2-3 more minutes with this internet connection. Yeah, I think it should be better. If it breaks in between again, students, then please inform me. Okay. We will not continue like this. If it is breaking again and again, then we will stop. Time being. So I was telling heuristic function to generate the next stage. Okay, so that heuristic function is that always you are trying to find out the better state from the current state. Okay, so if you so basically what you do is in the generate and test you generate a solution and test it. If it is a goal state, then it is okay, otherwise you generate another solution. In hill climbing, what you do in simple hill climbing, you generate a solution, and if it is better than the current state, then only you move to that solution. Okay, otherwise you generate another solution. Fine. So you generate another solution, and if that solution is also not better, then you generate another solution. So you keep on generating another solutions until you get a better solution than the current state. So always you will move to the better solutions only. Fine. So the heuristic function is basically used to choose the better states. Okay. So you'll always go to the better states. And if no better state is possible, suppose you have tried all the operators, suppose you have tried all the rules, okay, suppose you have tried all the rules, and still you are not able to generate any better state than the current state. So in that case, your process will end. You will not go further, basically. So either you will generate a better state and go to that state, otherwise your process will end if none of the resulting states is better than the current state. Okay, so this is simple hill climbing approach. Is it okay? Are you able to understand the logic? We will take example also for this one, but up till now, is it okay? Okay, fine. So what heuristics we use, how we do it, that we will see through an example. I will take an example for that one. Okay, so this is the algorithm for what I just explained for simple hill climbing. So there are two types of hill climbing. Simple hill climbing, this is the algorithm for that. And then we have steepest ascent, or we also call it as gradient descent hill climbing. So there are two types of hill climbing heuristic search technique. So two types are there. So simple hill climbing I was explaining you. Okay. So this is the algorithm for simple hill climbing. It is just the algorithm which I have just explained to you. So the algorithm is the same thing which I explained. You have an initial state. If it is the goal state, then you will return success basically. Otherwise, you will consider that initial state as your current state, and then you will basically go to this A and B parts of the second step again and again until no new states can be generated. Fine. So if some new state can be generated, then you will again loop through this A and B part. So what are these A and B parts? You will select an operator and apply it to the current state to generate a new state. So basically you are generating a new state and then you will evaluate the new state. If it is goal, it's okay. If it is not goal, if it is better than current, then you will make it as a current state. If it is not better, then you will continue in this loop. Continuing in this loop means that you will try to generate another state. So basically the second step is trying to generate a new state. Fine. So basically the second step is you are trying to generate a new state. Fine. So you will select an operator and you will apply it to the current state to generate a new state. If it is a goal state, okay. If it is better than the current state, then you have found a better state. So you will go to this better state and make it as a current state. Fine. If it is not better, then you will try to generate another state. So that is why it is written, if it is not better, then continue in this loop. Because what this loop does, it is basically choosing all the rules and applying them one by one to generate the next states. And if you are not able to get any next state as a better state than the current state, then you will end. You will not go further. You will be basically blocked, kind of a thing. Otherwise, you will generate a state which is better. So you will go to that state and you will make it as a current state. And yeah, if it is current state, you again generate the next state and you keep on generating until you get a better state. Then you choose that better state and make it as a current state. Then again from that current state, you keep on generating the next states and choose the better state and so on until you reach the goal state.
Ma'am, how is it
Okay.
choosing a better state?
So better state is basically it is having a heuristic function. That heuristic function value is indicating that which solution is better. So current state will also have a heuristic function value and the next states which you are generating, that also will have a heuristic function value. Now, if the heuristic function value of the next state is better than the current state, then it is a better state. Okay, so heuristic problem we were discussing. How do we devise the heuristic functions, right? So for the 8 puzzle problem, we had 3 heuristic functions possible, right? Likewise, for any different problem, you will have different heuristic functions possible. So you can choose any heuristic function. Depending upon that, it will tell you the values. And using the value, you can understand which is better state, which is not better state. Okay, who asked this question?
Ma'am, Nitin.
Yeah, Nitin, is it clear? Basically, how we generate the heuristic functions, that example we have taken no, in the class today, 8 puzzle problem. So that was an example of how we use the heuristic functions. So heuristic functions you can choose depending upon the problem. So you can choose the heuristic functions and then you can generate the better states.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So we will also take more examples and we will try to understand different heuristic functions for different problems. And then you can understand how to formulate a heuristic function. Fine. So let us stop here and then the steepest ascent hill climbing. Steepest ascent hill climbing, that is the next type of hill climbing. It's also very simple, but we will continue it in the next class and then we will also discuss another problem, Bloch's world problem. So we'll continue in the next class now. Uh, Divya is here.
Ma'am, I am here. I have taken the attendance.
Who?
Ma'am,
Who
Vaibhav.
are Vaibhav? Vaibhav, you are also the CR, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Vaibhav Agrawal, right? Okay. You have taken the snapshot, Vaibhav. That snapshot contains all the students' list.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine, fine. Okay, you can mail me that snapshot. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
fine. So tomorrow we have a class at 11 o'clock, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, that's a regular slot. Okay, thank you, students. Thank you, all of you.